What's poppin', players? Welcome back to a Two Penny Games Reacts. This time, The Last of Us, Episode 3, A Long Time. This episode was directed by Peter Hauer? It's like Boar, but with an H. So Hauer, written by Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin, stars, this is saying Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey, but really the stars of the episode were one
Nick Offerman and I don't know who plays Frank.
Jeffrey Pierce.
Jeffrey Pierce.
Nope, that's some guy named Perry. Who played Frank? Oh, here it is. Murray Bartlett.
Murray Bartlett. Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to Connor trying to match your lip sync.
Yeah,
I tried again.
He does it in everything now.
I tried. You said reacts, and I didn't expect that. I thought you were going to say Two Penny TV.
It's on the screen, Connor.
That's true. That's true.
Anyways,
React.
gentlemen, we're here. We just watched the hour-and-a-half long episode of The Last of Us, Episode 3. Is my shit? Does my mic sound weird?
No.
No, it sounds fine to me.
Hello? Okay, there we go. For whatever reason, like my audio engine was acting up. Sorry. Anyways, Episode 3, A Long Time. Is anybody jumping at the bit to go first this time?
Well,
I'm ready. But
you know what?
Connor,
Actually, you go first. You go first. No, you seem like amped up to say something.
This has been my favorite episode so far, and it's going to be hard pressed to find an episode better than this. This was beautiful. Is the only words I could use to describe it. I don't know if I have any real like critiques or like things that I didn't think hit. It all hit from stem to stern. I loved this episode. The acting was phenomenal. The writing was on point. The pace was really good. Maybe at times it was a little bit hurried, but you know, we only had so much time to get you to love these characters and so forth. But overall, I just thought it was phenomenal. And I was amazed at what they were able to do with so little time, what they've expanded upon from the game, and it's undeniably, to me, this episode, the bit of story it covers is undeniably better than the video game.
Yeah, it was because, you know, when you have the time to focus on just story and no gameplay, you're going to be able to do that a lot better, and especially with how they went about doing it, because clearly they knew that they didn't want to have like another action episode, especially since last time that was what we got, and we'll probably get a lot more in the future because it'll be kind of hard in other parts of The Last of Us story to adapt it to make it more about like drama and character development than action or things going on. So it was really their best bet as far as, you know, changing the source material to make it fit more for TV, and it did it wonderfully, as you said.
Did you guys see Neil Druckmann's tweet?
I did not.
He said, "Why is everyone crying? This was the happy episode."
It was the happy episode.
It was melancholy.
Phil.
I really like Bill, man. And I love Nick Offerman. And God, there's just so much I saw from him. Nick Offerman he's incredible, man. Oh, just dude, the bit with the strawberries.
Strawberries, yeah. Well, as spoiler free as possible right now.
Oh, okay, spoilers. Oh, there's strawberries. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, fuck, dude. This episode.
Yeah, you're hard.
Tavin already said it. It's fucking beautiful. I was thinking about it while Tavin was talking about it, and I almost started crying again.
This is everything and more that I could have asked for from this show. And yeah, I can't wait to see what they're gonna do with the rest. Because at this point, I'm on. Like, I don't know what they're going to do, but I know they're going to nail it.
Honestly, as far as trumping this episode, I think the next one is the other one that has the big potential to do so, since it's going to be covering a pretty epic part in The Last of Us story, the part that takes place in New York, unless they change it up somehow, which at this point I don't think they will.
Not New York.
Not New York, whatever the
definitely going west.
Yeah.
We'll find out
the opposite direction from Boston.
Yeah, you're
let
right.
me do some Googling. I'll find out what city it's supposed to be in. Because I don't know it off the top of my head.
Could be Philly.
It might be Philly. But you guys go ahead and talk about fuck it, man. Let's let it go, because we gotta get into the meat and potatoes. So go ahead,
Just-
let it off, boys.
Just the love story that they were able to tell from like, so we think that we're just gonna go run right into Bill and Frank. Like, oh man, it's weird that they're both still around, because like, you know, at the end of the first, was it the first episode that we saw them calling them?
Yeah.
So we
Kansas
know
City
that yes.
is where
So
they're
we
going
know
next, probably.
so we know that there's something going on there. So that's where they're headed, because that's like Joel's friend. That's how they're gonna regroup and possibly get a car. And then we cut back to when they were rounding people up to bring them to what are they called? What are they called? Quarantine zones. Yeah, quarantine zones. And we just jump back to Bill in his fucking bunker. He's a doomsday prepping motherfucker. And it's like prime time too, because it's like right after that. It's 2003. 9/11 happened 2 years ago. They do such a good job in that bit where like it's like when fucking Frank's walking away and he goes like, I can't live in that world where 9/11's an inside job and the government's all Nazis, and then Bill goes, the government are all Nazis.
That got a big laugh out of us. A big laugh out of us, that line.
God, but just like the moment where they meet, and did you guys notice that the song that they played on the piano was the same one they played at the end of the episode?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Well, they had called out the artist, and they had blurred it out on the page for some reason. Like it was never like shown to us whose music it was. And I was sitting there like they pointed at the camera, but it's like out of focus.
I read it. I could read it.
I could read Linda. I couldn't read the last name, and I was like, I don't know who this is. Quick correction. In the game, they meet in Pittsburgh. It looks like that they're changing that in the show, and it's going to be in Kansas City.
Okay.
Don't know if it really matters that much, but you know, it is what it is.
Not.
Kansas City, Kansas, or Kansas City, Missouri?
Kansas City, Kansas.
Wait, are there two Kansas cities?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know. Gotta love America.
Blow your mind real quick, Connor. There's a Paris, Texas.
I am aware of that. That's different though.
I was shocked that we didn't get a cold open this week. We just went straight into
it.
The opening credits and then right into to our action. I did like before we flashbacked and got all of our Bill and Frank stuff. I liked the scenes that we were shown with Joel and Ellie. The opening really quickly with the morning of Tess by stacking up the little rocks and stuff. I really appreciated it because I was like, fuck, man, I never thought about that. Also, how unfortunate that happens on the day the actor from the game passed. Do you have her name off the top of your head? I'm about to look it up real quick.
I can have it.
I've got it here in the chat. Okay. Annie Wershing. Annie Wershing, who played Tess in the video games, who passed away today at 45. Rest in peace.
Cancer, man.
Fuck cancer. Way too young. And just how appropriate that this episode is to open with a a bit of mourning Tess. That's some serendipitous type stuff that is appreciable. Obviously not planned, but just the fact that it was able to happen is nice. But yeah, I loved all that. All of the conversations between Ellie and Joel are awesome. Her little bit about, hey man, you signed up for this. It was your choice. Don't blame me for this because that's not fair.
Not my fault.
I sat back and I was like, it's a very mature, very wise take, Ellie. Good job. I love that Joel's hand is still broken. He's still
it looks hella swollen too.
Yeah, we're sticking with that for a little while.
I'm not gonna be punching anyone for a while.
What's happening? No, he will not be punching anything for a minute. What was our take on her scene in the basement when she found that trapped infected?
I think good. It goes to show how much she's a psychopath.
I didn't get that from it necessarily, but I was more like, damn, she's trying to prove to herself that she can handle it. Like That's where kind of what I got from it.
Oh,
Like,
I
she
got
was
a
kinda...
revenge thing.
Oh, okay. I see
I'm gonna
that too.
take
was
I'm gonna
angry.
take my anger out of Tess dying because I liked Tess. I'm gonna take it out on this thing. Also the moments beforehand where she was like, let me poke and prod it and learn something about it, and cutting it open and seeing the fungus grow out of the hole she just cut instead of it bleeding.
Mhm.
She's
You
like,
saw
oh,
the
that's
fuck,
interesting.
yeah, ugh. I
Yeah,
didn't
it's
like
like
that.
all webbing and shit. It's
This
nasty.
stuff was like really likes their light body horror. I was afraid they were gonna stab. She was gonna stab the eye, and I was gonna be kind of squirming if that was gonna
Oh
happen.
yeah, that would.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be like
gross.
moving and
Yeah.
shit, like and crawling up the knife or something. That would have been good.
Oh,
That would have been cool.
Interesting that the thing's eyes were following her knife
Mm.
and not locked on her. I thought that was interesting. I don't know what they're trying to say with that, but it's fascinating. Not exactly the
part of-
type of behavior I was expecting.
I think part of that is to try and show that
They recognize
I
a
mentioned
threat.
it last time. Not even that they recognize a threat, but last time we talked about this, the second episode, they kind of there's a conversation whether they're still alive in there. I think it's kind of supposed to give it that human element to realize that it's just a person who's sick, effectively.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Highlight the tragedy of it all because it's not like they're evil inherently. They're just
No,
zombies.
it's an animal.
Yep.
It's the fungus is a living, breathing organism. Closely resembling a
no
plant,
higher
but it's more
intelligence,
like it's more like just a basic intelligence animal than it is
I-
a plant.
Yeah, because the interesting thing about that is fungus, just as a whole, have more in common with living, breathing creatures, particularly humans, more than
than
plants.
plants. Yep.
They have more of a relation to that. So,
It's true.
I think that's kind of the big theme they're trying to go throughout this. Humanize these monsters.
Do you think we're gonna find some like zealot type people who are like, no, this is the next step of evolution. This is where we're supposed to be, or something?
We could. I mean, they obviously changed with this episode. They changed the entire dynamic between Frank and Bill, and
I
the complete background of that whole storyline in the game. So I think they could do that if they really
could
wanted
add
to.
that element. I mean, it might be something that is in the game, but just hasn't been explored yet.
That's
like
true.
maybe they have somebody like with David that it's like that. I don't know.
Yeah, possibly. Rather than just the typical spoilers for the game. Yeah, spoilers. Cannibal story. And that'd be a way to shake it up, make it a bit more interesting. Though either way.
I think the cannibals is enough.
Yeah, that's why I was like, okay, that's pretty. That's actually kind of.
Yeah, it's like if they
no.
do any kind of like higher like power thing. Yeah, if they do anything with it at all, I think it'd be probably there.
Thinking about what that's supposed to mean in the story of Last of Us, I actually do hope they keep with the original stuff, which kind of mean that's the one. I'm not really criticism of this episode, but it worries me about what they can change, possibly making things worse. So far, they've done a great job, but
I think this is the
when you
biggest
change up source
deviation that we're
material,
going to see
it- yeah.
this episode. Everything else, I think, is
believe
going to
so.
be, like we've seen so far, small differences, expanding, growing, small changes to make it make sense in the world of TV.
Mhm.
But this is the first, and I would bet probably the only time that they make a huge deviation, and this is a different character than what you saw before, and this is just a different story than what took place in the game. But they fucking nailed it. It's way better. I love that it's about love. It refocuses that narrative on the central theme of The Last of Us. Connor, we talked about it on the Gamescast earlier today, of what love can do, the depths it can bring you back out of. And I love how that was reflected in that final letter of Bill's. Of course, he wrote it thinking Tess was the answer, but in fact, Ellie is going to be the answer. And
Joel seeming not realizing that yet.
Yeah, Joel doesn't even realize that yet either. But eventually, he will. I loved that he took a moment. He walked out the house and like you could see the emotions were welling up in him because he didn't like Bill either. But like there was a respect between the two parties, and they had gotten to know, this was someone he knew, and
they were friends almost.
Yeah, almost. Yeah. And then like I think it's also just another moment for him to grieve rather about Tess, and it's just a matter of like, okay, everything I just had is gone again. Like I lost it all again, and now I just have this kid, and I gotta take this kid and hopefully go find the last of my family, which is my brother. So, oh man, I'm so excited for where this story is gonna tell. I guess the Tommy stuff is probably gonna be pretty different too, but
yeah, that's true.
I'm just. This to me was proof that like we don't have to stick to the source material. We can make changes. in ways that are smart and make sense, but still tell that great story. And as long as it's still centered around our central theme of love, this is gonna work and it's gonna be great. And yeah, I don't even like. I was fighting in the first 2 episodes to turn my fan brain off, and now I'm just letting the fan win because it's so good. Like the quality is so high, the special effects are so good. Can we talk about the age makeup on those 2 real quick?
Oh my god, yeah.
Holy crap, those were some old ass men.
So I thought whenever like right before they showed that they were old, I thought we were gonna have like a reverse of what happens in the game, where where instead of Frank being already dead like he is in the game, it's gonna be Bill.
I had that that fear in me too.
Because like there was literally a moment when it looks like he literally dies on the table, right? And Frank is taking care of him, and I had just mentioned to Ash because I was explaining like it's actually just Bill. We don't even know if we don't like whenever we meet Bill in the game. We don't know that he loved another man. We don't know that he was, because he just mentioned that he cared about somebody.
Yeah,
and then we see it later in notes.
Yeah, me and my girlfriend Nicole had played through the game over the course of last year, and she didn't really remember Bill. What she did remember was Frank's dead body and the letter Frank writes where he's like really bitter and angry towards Bill. That's all she remembered, and she went. Yeah, like as we were progressing through the episode, she was like, "Man, those letters are really gonna hurt when we get them." And I was like, I don't think we're gonna get them because that relationship that they portray in the game doesn't make sense for the relationship we have here. I was like, I think it's gonna be worse. I think they're gonna like infected are gonna attack and eat, and we're gonna watch this couple get eaten or something. I'm so glad that wasn't the case. I'm so glad it was just this huge romantic gesture of love.
Yeah, and literally right before we thought that Bill was going to die, I had just mentioned like, oh, I wouldn't like it'd be interesting for them to do the reverse. And then we see Bill on the table, and my mouth is just open. And Ash looks at me. In my periphery, I see her turn her head towards me, and then she's like, oh. And then they cut to them being old. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, and they even fake you out where like you're like, oh, Bill's in the chair. Okay, he's in a wheelchair. He's just hurt. Whatever. And then they cut to the house and it's Frank in the chair, and you go,
yep.
Oh, okay. So some time has passed.
Yeah, and I think as soon as they show Frank in the wheelchair, then they say it's however many years later, present day.
Yeah. Oh man, I loved it. Oh, it was so good.
Yeah, it was a very interesting way to take the character of Bill. Specifically, Frank obviously didn't have a character, so they really had a blank canvas with that to do what they will. But with Bill, when we see him in the game, we see the bad parts of Bill, just the paranoid, rude, pretty selfish.
Sorry, I was just about to go into the fact that when Bill first gets Frank out of the hole, and then he lets him take a shower, and he treats him to a meal, and it's the same meal. At the end of the episode,
I saw that too. Yeah,
it's the same meal, and oh my god,
same bottle of wine, everything.
My eyes were leaking.
Yeah, and then when they go to bed, they cut to the hole that Frank fell in, and I was like, man, this fucking show is good, man. Oh my god, Connor, he cut you off. You were saying something about Bill.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, please. But I was, as I was saying before. Bill, we saw a lot of the negative aspects of him, but with Frank there, we were able to see a lot of the better parts of him, which deepened his character even more so than he already is in the game. I like how they did it in the game. These are 2 completely different mediums. They're 2 different ways of how they told the story. Both of them amazing in their own way, but it was nice to see this other avenue where we actually saw more of who Bill is as a whole person rather than just the angry, bitter, wary side of him.
We just saw the love, man.
Yeah. Well, and it's in the game, Bill's purpose is to expand on world building and talk to you about, the final days of people rushing around and scavenging, and they lead you to believe there's other people like Bill who just hold themselves up and live in solidarity.
Yeah, because he's basically like, oh, you have this kid with you? What are you, fucking stupid?
Yep.
Cut her loose. Take care of yourself.
And from a gameplay perspective, it's also like an outlet to where we get to fight clickers for an hour. as opposed to just the random bandits that you've been fighting,
running through those fucking yards or whatever.
Yeah. So when you take the game element out, like Connor said, it gives you the opportunity to just tell this really great character story, and I can't express how happy I am with the. Oh God, what was the line in the letter about we're hateful people, but like God put us here, to save the only person that matters or something, or to give us someone that matters.
I think to protect what matters or something.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, something like that. Oh man, and Pedro's face during that thing where
because that's what
he
Tess
doesn't
told him to
understand.
do.
He doesn't understand what these words mean yet, and
He will.
He will. The balance of it all is so great, and I just fucking loved every moment of this episode.
Yeah, especially that part you were just talking about. It really set up what you know as a game player is going to happen.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
It's all going to come true.
The fucking montage of him setting his little fort up though, like it was
That was
so
great.
good.
That was so dope.
It was every single thing is like, oh, how does he do this? Oh, right, he goes to the fucking the gas place and turns it all back on, and
I was fascinated. We didn't get any like nail bombs or anything.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I mean, I guess a little too video gamey, but
The
I would
only
have
like
appreciated
trap that we saw go off was the one
like
where the
shotgun
zombie
in the-
going through.
shotgun in
Yeah,
the woods. Yeah, like that would have been a time for a nail bomb, and it was just like
we saw
big bullet.
we saw the bits when he was getting attacked. Like we saw like the like flamethrower things, and we saw the electric fence and all that. But...
Which, Bill, why are you standing in the middle of the street taking shots at these bandits? What was that about?
Maybe take some cover.
Maybe take some cover. There's some trees. I was so scared for Frank in that as bullets are whizzing past the house and hitting the house. I'm sitting there. I'm like, he's going to catch a stray. It's going to be a stray, and it's going to do it. And it's going to kill. It's going to ruin Bill.
Yeah, also, Bill only gets hit because he turns and looks at Frank.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. So
he's only concerned with protecting him.
Yeah. Yeah.
That line that he says where I was never scared until I met you.
Oh, bar.
Oof.
What a bar. I also love when Bill does get shot, Frank takes over and he doesn't freak out. He's very calm. He keeps his voice steady.
He's that calming presence,
calm, and he knows exactly what to do.
They're yin and yang,
necessary
man.
Steps. I love it, man. It's not like the fighter and the lover. It's like the fighter and the medic. Like,
I mean, they're both survivors.
Yeah, they are. Like, which I guess makes sense. You don't make it this long by being a little bitch when shit hits the fan. Like, you got to be ready when shit hits the fan.
Like, you got to think he went from what QZ was he from? I forget.
No, not Boston.
Not Boston.
Baltimore.
So he literally fucking walks from Baltimore to like what, a few miles outside Boston?
Yep.
10 miles outside Boston.
For
pretty close.
2 days.
Yeah.
By himself.
Yeah. And then he fell in a hole. Oh man. I love that not only like it wasn't, of course it wasn't, but I love it wasn't all peaceful. It wasn't all hunky dory. Like we got to see the bad days alongside the good. We got to see the fights and the arguments, and what a great scene with Joel and Bill in their first meeting. Where Bill's like, or when Bill's sitting there pissed off with the gun on the table, and Joel goes, "Nah, I get it. I do it too."
He keeps on clicking the hammer back and forth.
Yeah. Also, and maybe this is me reaching, but I think it would be an interesting layer to the character, and maybe it was talked about on set, and they just didn't have the time or the words to say it. Joel has a line where he's talking about, hey, yeah, I'd be pissed too if my girl went off and did this thing against my wishes or whatever. But he pauses. He goes, I'd be pissed too if mine went off and did this thing. Now, obviously, that's the layer of him and Tess don't have titles. They don't have like an official relationship or anything. But is it, Joel, it's 2003. Joel is a Texan. And he's 35 or whatever. He's in his mid-30s when the show starts. I'm not gonna go so far as to say he's like homophobic or anti-gay, but I wouldn't be surprised if the idea makes him a little uncomfortable.
So I didn't get that he was talking about the other person. I thought he was talking about his home.
He's very clearly talking about the other person. He's very clearly talking about a partner.
I think that's just a continuation of the fact that him and Tess have like a difficult relationship, and it's still keeping it.
I think that's
surface.
part of the main thing about it. But it wouldn't surprise me if Joel was a little uncomfortable with that idea, and I think it'd be an interesting layer to play with as we get deeper into this relationship with Ellie. This would all, of course, be season 2 stuff. Which, by the way, they announced season 2. I'm excited for that too. I'm ready, man. Do the whole adventure. I'm ready.
Yeah, I guess we haven't done this since they announced that. Yeah,
it was only yesterday. So
was it really yesterday?
Yeah.
Yesterday, day before. Yesterday.
What is time?
Maybe it was Friday.
Fluid.
Might have been Friday. But yeah, it was just it was a layer. They didn't dive into it. They didn't really play with it or anything. I was just curious if maybe it was just like a little layer for the director, the writer, the actor to know. The audience doesn't need to be privy to that yet. And also, like, it's not like he's anti-gay or anything. It's just like a thing of like,
right.
He's like, I don't know how to approach this. Like, he's like he's like a, I don't know, like a 50-year-old man trying to understand a trans person's life these days. They're like, what do I call you? Like that type of level of like, I want to show you respect, but I don't understand this type thing. Maybe I'm reaching. Just a thought I had. I love it, man. No real action this episode. I mean, yeah, a little bit with some pyrotechnics and some guys flailing around on fire or whatever, but we didn't really see anybody really get shot. Anything crazy. There wasn't big explosions. There wasn't a lot of clickers or infected people. There was the one trapped, and then there was the one that fell into Bill's trap, and that was about it.
I wasn't even were you guys expecting a Wilhelm scream whenever they were getting set on fire? Like
I was not.
I wouldn't have been surprised.
That would have broken the tone so bad.
No, Tavin. That is such an intrinsic thing in filmmaking nowadays. It doesn't break immersion at all.
Every single audio engineer is that they always try to sneak it in whenever they can.
One thing that I did like as well, going into the more finer details of the show, we talked about it last time with the encounter with the 2 clickers, both of them having the different shaped mushroom heads. We only saw 2 infected in this one, but both of them had the same thing going on. The one with the rubble had his own growth, seemingly kind of like at a point where it's
similar, was like transitioning to a clicker.
Yeah, kind of like the one at the end of the last episode, but less
the stalker. The stalker
yeah.
variant in the games.
Yeah, and then the other one that's very early on, but he still has like the little tendril shooting up, indicating that he's it's starting to sprout. I just like these little details, and props to the special effects team.
It's so good every time. Every single one of them look great.
I do like my practical effects, and this show's doing it good.
I don't, other than like backgrounds and skyboxes, I don't know if anything's really been that special effects heavy. The explosion at the end of episode 2.
Yeah, I mean the opening of episode 1 and the ending of the opening of episode 2 and the ending of episode 1 where they have the 2 buildings. I don't know how they did that, but they got the 2 buildings
fake.
that crumbled.
That's all fake.
No, man, it's real.
Okay. Man, how did Boston rebuild after the shooting of the last? I don't
know how they did that.
That's crazy. Yeah, man, I'm so excited, Connor. I'm not watching the next time on the Last of Us thing because I just kind of want to go into every episode as blind as possible. Yeah. I'm curious as to like where do we go these next episodes, because now we're in episode 3. Next week will be 4. So now we're in the meat. We're in the heavy storytelling of the show now, where everything's been set up, the world's been established, the stakes are there. Now it's just time to continue character building and then execute on these triggers that you've set.
Did we mention the pull from the game where Joel goes through the 3 rules?
No, we did not. No, but loved it word for word from the game.
Yeah.
It was funny because the episode ended and I looked at Nicole and I said, "Isn't it funny how like some of the best dialogue in the show is literally just word for word dialogue from the game.
Ripped from the game, yeah.
Ripped right from it. It just shows how good that first game was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was really happy to see that conversation happen because we didn't get it at the end of last episode. We didn't get it at the start of this one. So I was sitting here, I was like, are we going to get it? I really like that conversation, so I was really happy to get it. Both characters ended this episode in their game-accurate costumes.
Yeah, when you mentioned that they were going to bring that up with Ellie at a certain point, like I think last episode you said, oh, they're going to include her game outfit at some point. When they opened the box and it's women's clothing, I was like, Tavin's right, this is the moment. And sure enough,
women's clothing, small to medium.
Yeah, I was like, oh, well, we're about to see it.
I liked that, because it was just the back shot of Ellie, and I immediately nerded out, and I went, that's the shirt, it's here, and then Joel comes down the stairs in his plaid, and I was like, fucking love this shit, man. So
man.
we're Connor, and you know the pace of the game, about like just as well as I do here. Where do we go from here? Do we go straight to Pittsburgh or Kansas City, wherever they go? Or do we spend some time with Joel and Ellie just walking for a little while?
I think we're gonna go right into because
I guess we're
how many episodes are there again? How many confirmed?
9.
8? 9?
9.
It was 8.
No, it's 9.
Well, in that case, I definitely think they're just going to go right into the city, since it's going to be, I think, a pretty tense episode with lots of sneaking. I don't think it's going to be very action heavy, except for like the end of the next episode. But I see it being a lot of sneaking around, a lot of tension, suspense, bringing in those 2 other characters, and having the interactions with them start, and including another element into the show, and probably doing more with that than they did in the video game. So I think we're going to just directly right with the city.
We don't finish that storyline by next episode, though. Surely, right?
I think it's the next one. We're gonna see like maybe not even at the end of the next episode after that. Maybe no.
Because then we got a season change in the game, at least after that story. So, I mean, they don't have to work at that pace. They can work at whatever pace they want. They just have to hit those beats.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's what I think they're gonna do.
Oh, here we go.
All right.
Give it to me, buddy.
Are we seeing the brothers next episode?
That's the debate, really. I don't know if we see them next episode.
I really do. I think we're gonna go to the city part of the game.
What are the names again? I forget.
Sam and Henry. Yeah.
Sam and Henry. Okay.
What I think we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the city. We're gonna do all of that sometime halfway through. Maybe it's even another hour and a half episode. Who knows? They're gonna meet up with Sam and Henry, and it's going to finish that, like with them getting out of the city, all that suspense coming to a close with them escaping. And then the next part is going to be a lot more of that character building between Joel and Ellie and Sam and Henry, going through, the town, going maybe even the sewers if they decide to include that, though they may take that out.
Episode 4 is going to be 50 minutes in length, which was the same length as episode 2.
So in that case, I think we're going to see the end of the city next episode, and then in the next one, they're going to finish the Sam and Henry stuff halfway through that episode, and then go into Tommy's, and kind of leave that episode off when they're going to go into the Tommy storyline. Since obviously they're going to change things with that one, and they're probably going to spend a whole episode with it, I think that's what they'll do. That's what I'm calling right now, at least.
So we got this covered.com says no episode after today will be over an hour.
Okay.
Everything is from 50 to 59 minutes until the last episode, which they are saying is 43 minutes. But I don't know if this is confirmed or not. This is just the first thing I found. It's interesting to me that you think we're going to finish the brother storyline halfway through an episode and not finish with it. But at the same time, we're running out of time. So, because we've still got Winter to get through. And I imagine Winter takes 2 episodes.
Yeah. The university is part of winter, isn't it? No, it's fall.
That's in fall. Yeah. So let's say episode, because we're still in summer through episode 4 and maybe 5, and maybe we enter. Maybe you're right. Maybe we do enter fall in 5, stay in fall in 6. Winter is 7 and 8, and then 9 is spring.
That would make sense because 9 in the game, spring is very short.
Spring is very short. Yeah.
That would make sense. Them doing that. Using the seasons as kind of a guideline for the actual episodes of the show. Yeah.
But of course, they're using the knowledge of the games against us. There were so many times in this episode where I was like, they're going to change it. They're going to change it. They're going to, and then they didn't, and then they did in other ways,
I kind of expect it because it's like they have to make it interesting for people that like the games too, you know? They don't want they know that we just don't want to see the game again.
Yeah, but episode 1 and 2 were so true to the first game.
No, don't get me wrong. I'd be happy if it was just like point for point, but
Yeah.
I think I'm more happy the fact that they're changing it up and they're catching me by surprise.
Yeah. And also, like we talked about already, if anything was going to deviate, it was Bill's story. Bill was the one point where it was like, this needs to be something else. From here on out, it could essentially be beat for beat. I mean, there's things that we do need to flesh out and give more time to. The only thing that I'm curious about is Tommy. Where is Tommy at? Is he in danger, or is he building his settlement like he is in the game? And Joel just has a different pretense for what that relationship is. Where are Joel and Tommy at in this day? Like that's the biggest question mark for me. Everything else, Sam and Henry, David, Spring, all of that I imagine will be pretty much the same.
We have to see the giraffe bit, right?
Of course.
We fucking better see the giraffe bit. I'm gonna fucking
that's...
throw a goddamn fit if we don't see that fucking
No
giraffe.
giraffe, we riot.
You have to see the giraffe, right? Like, there's no avoiding it. Like, you have.
There's not.
Listen, if they're going through and putting in the conversation of, listen, you don't speak about Tess, we don't talk about Tess, like, etc. If they're doing that, they're gonna give us the giraffe.
I believe so as well. That would be crazy if they didn't.
Neil Druckmann tweeting saying, "Why is everyone crying? This is the happy episode." They're gonna hurt us, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There will not be another happy episode.
Yep.
Well, that remains to be seen. You know, it could be stuff. You know.
Nope.
Be...
No. It's gonna be bad, guys. Like,
yep.
they're gonna hurt us a lot. It was funny because the episode ended, and that same realization hit me like shortly, like I don't know, 10 minutes after the episode, and I was still on the call with my girlfriend because long distance relationships are great. And I was like, "Oh God, that was a happy episode." And she joked and went, "It is? I'm crying." And I was like, "Well, yeah, but they're like happy tears. Like you're in love. That's why you're crying." Last of Us doesn't do happy. They're going to hurt us.
Yup.
Yeah.
So, gentlemen, anything else we need to say about episode 3 of HBO's The Last of Us?
No.
I don't think so, yeah.
All right. That is it. I feel like we touched on at least everything a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
I love how classic gay Frank is, where he's like, I just want to do some yardscape. What is it called that I'm looking for? What is
Landscaping.
Landscaping, and I want to open up the
This
clothing
is my
store or
street
something.
too.
I love it. I love that whole, every single moment was fantastic. Maybe they hopped into bed a little too quickly, but
Okay.
end of the world. You're not gonna
Animals.
Bill
like,
hasn't
you
seen
haven't
anybody
another
in
person in 4 years.
Yeah, Bill
Like,
hasn't seen anybody in like 3-4 years. So yeah, he's down.
the company of your right hand gets old quick.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for our reaction/review of The Last of Us episode 3, A Long, Long Time. Let us know how you felt about it down in the comments. And remember, you can watch us react to these episodes live, twitch.tv/2pennygames, immediately after the episode, or as close to immediately after the episode as we can get. Where was I going? Twitch.tv/2pennygames. Watch us live every Sunday, shortly after the episode airs.
I will not be going live this Tuesday.
We're not going live this Tuesday. Okay, thank you for that. So there no live this Tuesday.
Except for the podcast. We'll do the podcast later, but I mean... Like,
that's right. We are doing Piggy Bank Tuesday about 6 p.m. So tune in for that. And youtube.com/2pennygames, where you can get all of our podcast information about video games and Let's Plays and hype pieces still going out of Kingdom Hearts 2. Check all of that out. Until next time, have a great time. And gentlemen, say goodbye to the people.
Bye.
Did I introduce you two at the beginning of the episode? Did I introduce
so.
myself?
I don't think any of us got introduced.
I don't know. Yeah. Hey, I'm Tavin. That's Connor. That's Phil. Bye.